Hi YouTube. This is the little bit sadder time of year post E3 where we take the time to process everything that we learned about, all of the new announcements, take the time to go back and watch all of the live streams that we missed. In the case of Nintendo, it's 2.5 days of Treehouse streams. My recap and reaction video. This video is also a little bit late because my camera hates me. However, I do feel like I've watched everything that existed from E3 related to the Switch, and here I am to fill you in on all of it. I'm going to do my best at keeping this recap relatively brief, not that I'm ever good at that, but for everything that I don't go into detail on, I'll put links down below to all of the individual videos for the specific segments from Treehouse or the specific launch trailers and stuff like that. But even if you know everything about what happened with Nintendo at E3, I am also here to give my opinion because I just assume that everyone wants to hear my opinion, even though nobody really does. So I will start this by saying this wasn't a huge year for Nintendo announcements, but there is still a lot to look forward to for the rest of the year and for 2019 for Nintendo. There's a lot of great upcoming games. It's just that a lot of them weren't new announcements to us. A lot of them were announced at last E3 or at this March Nintendo Direct or otherwise relatively recently. The lack of huge surprises and announcements is really a product of Nintendo doing several big Nintendo Directs a year. They could not have all of the Nintendo Directs throughout the year and just do everything at E3, which is basically what at least Microsoft does. Sony now does these PlayStation Experience things, but a lot of their announcements are still saved for E3. Nintendo really spreads it out because they like to have all of their Nintendo Directs to have some kind of a punch to them. So that's what happens when you have Nintendo Directs 4 or 5 times a year, is the one particular Nintendo Direct during E3 that you'll want to care about isn't as special as it could be, but it is what it is. Anyway, diving right in, Nintendo kicked off their E3 Direct with a new IP called Damon Ex Machina, and it's an interesting mecha Gundam style fighter game. The trailer itself was like a really gritty, heavy music, didn't show much of the game, but they actually talked about this game more during the Treehouse. We saw some cool features that I had, like character creation, character customization. We know that there's going to be single player and multiplayer missions. We know that the player gets to choose between being a demon or a god, so there has to be some kind of a morality system in place. And just lots of cool other details. So we won't hear a lot more about this game until a little bit later. It comes out in 2019, but I am really looking forward to hearing more about it when we get that. After that, we learned that there's more Xenoblade 2 content coming out. There's DLC this September. It's called Torna the Golden Age. So that's good news for Xenoblade fans. It's not a new game, it's not a port of Xenoblade Chronicles to Switch, but it is something new, so that's nice. We also got to see more of Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu, and Eevee. Those were not new announcements because Pokemon Let's Go was actually announced a few weeks ago. Nintendo kind of cut it off at the head and made sure to get that out there before the E3 Direct, which is probably a good thing because it was also leaked a little bit prior to that. So unsurprisingly, Pokemon Let's Go was not a surprise, but we did get to see a little bit more of the capture mechanics, the leveling, and a couple other things in the Treehouse, so make sure you watch that Treehouse if you have any interest in Pokemon Let's Go. We also learned that Mew comes with the Pokeball Plus. So if you were on the fence about getting the Pokeball Plus, we got a few more details. We now know it's $50. It's up for pre-order pretty much everywhere. Or you can get a bundle pack with the Pokeball Plus plus the game for $100, which is a pretty good deal. You have to keep in mind that the Pokeball Plus is really a Joy-Con, and the Joy-Cons retail at $80 for 2 Joy-Cons. So $50 for the Pokeball Plus is not terrible, at least in my opinion. Pokemon Let's Go comes out November 16th of this year, and we do know, both from the original Pokemon presentation and from E3, it being mentioned again, there is a mainstream Pokemon game coming to Switch in 2019. It might be that there was something ready to show for this mainstream Switch game, but Nintendo would not have shown a new Pokemon title while trying to promote Pokemon Let's Go, which is coming out this November, because it could cut off the sales for Pokemon Let's Go for people who are waiting for whatever the next game is. So probably more on that way later in the year or next year, because I doubt that they're going to show it before Pokemon Let's Go comes out. Next, we saw a game that I've been asking for, begging for recently, Mario Party. But there's a caveat. The trailer we saw showed some really unique, cool-looking mini games and a whole lot of local multiplayer. In fact, it only showed local multiplayer to the point where a lot of us were like, that's not a good sign. That means there's probably no online at all. Luckily, there is some online. During the Treehouse, they announced that there would be a minigame mode that is playable online with friends. It's not as good as it can be with online, but I'm kind of in a place where with Nintendo, I'll just take every inch I can get. And right now, that inch is having just multiplayer minigames and not the full storyboard mode. Storyboard? We'll call it a storyboard. Board game, storyboard, they're not the same thing, I know, I'm sorry. We did see a lot of really exciting things about this game, mostly that it's basically going back to its roots with the normal star movements and the very simple boards and simple single-player movement and stuff like that. So Super Mario Party is what it's called, and it's coming out October 5th of this year. Always love it when Nintendo announces games and they're coming out this year. So that is one of the few things that we didn't know about that was announced at Nintendo Direct this year. Super Mario Party. I have it pre-ordered already. We finally got our first look at the new Fire Emblem Switch game, and it's called Fire Emblem Three Houses. The trailer had a lot of things that hype me up to video games. It had good music, it had good English voice acting. It even had a character named Edelgard, which every time I looked at, it looked like it said Edgelord. The only sad news here is that we didn't get a lot of details about Fire Emblem during Treehouse or otherwise, and it's not coming out till 2019. Originally, Fire Emblem for the Switch was announced to be a 2018 title last year. Now we know that it's going to be spring 2019, so it did get pushed back a little bit. I don't think that's totally surprising. I'm surprised that more games talked about didn't get pushed back yet, like Yoshi. Since it's not in my recap, I'll just mention it now. Yoshi's New Game on the Switch got no mention whatsoever at the E3 Direct, or at E3 at all. Rumors are that it's probably delayed to 2019 as well, and we're probably not going to hear about it until the Tokyo Game Show or sometime a little bit later in the year, like September-ish. But one thing that everybody was expecting to hear about was the new Yoshi Switch game, because it was supposed to come out this year, and we got nothing. Zip. Anyway, Fire Emblem Three Houses, now spring 2019. It'll be okay. Don't worry. It's okay. This leaked a while ago, but Fortnite for the Switch was officially confirmed, and it came out about an hour after the E3 Direct, so if you have any interest in playing Fortnite on the Switch, it's out now. Go get it. I gotta tell you, I gave it a shot for an hour or two. Not for me. I can understand the appeal, but it is appealing to someone who is not NintendoFanGirl, and that's okay. So one really notable thing about Fortnite is that it supports crossplay on everything, on 360, on PC, on iOS, except not on PS4. Sony has the largest online user base, and they're being very protective of that, and so they have always been against crossplay. I can't say always. They've been against crossplay since they've had the largest user base for online. There's a lot of arguments whether or not it's justified, it's not justified, it's poor consumerism, it's just protecting their business. Whatever it is, Nintendo and Microsoft and Nintendo fans and Microsoft fans have done a pretty good job poking fun at Sony for that. Earlier this week, the week after E3, Nintendo actually released the new Minecraft Switch trailer, which was all about crossplay for Minecraft with Microsoft, and just felt like a backhanded insult to Sony. It was all about how it's better to play together. Like, why would anyone want to play together? It's more fun that way. I'm personally actually super excited about Fortnite, and it has nothing to do with the game itself, except Fortnite has really done a fantastic job with using multiplayer systems on the Switch. Fortnite makes it really simple to play with strangers, to play with friends, and they've also announced or implemented already, I'm not sure which, party chat for Fortnite. To access it, all you have to do is plug in a headset with a microphone into the headphone jack. I don't know why that was so hard for Splatoon. For Splatoon, you have to use the app on the phone, you have to plug in a weird dongle thing, but apparently it's that simple. Just Nintendo doesn't want to do it. So I'm hoping that Fortnite will serve as an example to Nintendo to show online can be a good thing, people like it, and people being able to talk to one another doesn't make the system implode. It's fine, it'll be okay. After that, Nintendo mentioned 3 indie games. Overcooked 2 is coming to Switch August 7th, Killer Queen Black later this year, and Hollow Knight is out now. I have personally heard some really great things about Hollow Knight. I'm definitely looking forward to checking that out in the future, so that's what my radar's on. Octopath Traveler is coming out really soon. It comes out in July, so not a lot more to talk about with that. It's already been discussed quite a bit, but there is a new Octopath Traveler demo in the eShop, so that's 3 hours long and worth downloading if you have any interest in the game. StarLink is a Ubisoft game that was announced a while ago, I think last E3, and basically it's a games to life, toys to life thing where you build ships and you can import them into the game. I don't know. The real news about StarLink is that it got this awesome moment during the Ubisoft conference where it was revealed that the Nintendo Switch version of StarLink would be featuring Star Fox. And it comes with the model of the R-Wing, the ship, and it looks really cute. So StarLink gets its custom Switch version featuring Star Fox, featuring Fox McCloud. October 16th, that game comes out. Arena of Valor, which is like a League of Legends clone, except it's made by the League of Legends people, so it's like a on-purpose clone, is coming to Switch in fall 2018. Minecraft and Sushi Striker are both out at this point, but they both got a little mention. Another awesome moment from the Ubisoft press conference was we got some Donkey Kong music live on the stage, which I'm all about live music. You hire an orchestra or an actually decent band to play at E3 and I will eat it up. And when they're playing Nintendo music, it's just like 5 times better. So this band played all Donkey Kong music, and it was all about the Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle DK DLC. That's a mouthful. And that DLC comes out June 26th, which might already have passed by the time you watch this video, because I don't know how long it's going to take me to edit it. I'm just going to read off my list and do this rapid fire, because I don't know how I can talk about all of these. Pixark Fall 2018, Just Dance 2019 is coming out October 23rd of this year, which is extra interesting because it's also coming out for the Wii U and the Wii. It's coming out for the Wii. That's more a comment on just Ubisoft putting Just Dance on everything because they know that there's still households that only have a Wii. Nintendo is not still supporting the Wii, so it's not a comment on that, just Ubisoft. Dragon Ball FighterZ is being ported to the Switch this year. Toad Treasure Tracker on the Switch July 13th. There is a new demo out, so go download that if you haven't played Toad Treasure Tracker yet. Crash and Sane Trilogy, June 29th. Ninjala, Spring 2019. I cannot look at this game and see anything other than Splatoon. I will put my faith into it being something different from Splatoon, but it looks just like Splatoon. Carcassonne, which I'm sure I'm saying wrong because nobody will ever correct me. Holiday 2018. FIFA 18 is out now. FIFA 19, September 28th. Ark, Fall 2018. I'm excited about Ark. I have never played it, but I've always wanted to. Wasteland 2, Fall 2018. Paladins is out now. Fallout Shelter is out now. A note on Fallout Shelter, it was actually announced at the Bethesda conference that it was coming out for the Switch. Fallout Shelter has been out on mobile devices for quite some time. I've played quite a bit of it. I'm a big fan of Fallout Shelter, but I also play a lot of mobile games, so maybe not for everyone. But I've been playing Fallout Shelter a lot on the Switch. Dark Souls Remastered, still no launch date, still summer 2018. It was supposed to be out by now, it got pushed back a little bit. SNK Heroines is September 7th. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, August 28th. Wolfenstein 2, June 29th. The World Ends With You, Fall 2018. Mega Man 11, October 2nd, and Mario Tennis Aces was June 22nd, which is today as of me filming this, so it's out now. Also, a quick mention that Octo Expansion for Splatoon, we knew was coming out this summer. It was announced at the Splatoon Championship that it was out the day that it was announced, or the day after it was announced. It's out now is what we're getting at. And I've been playing Octo Expansion. It's super challenging, sometimes very frustrating, but super fun, and I completely recommend it. If you like Splatoon 2 at all, definitely get that expansion. It's worth every penny. And after that rapid fire of announcements, we saw Shinya Takahashi. I like Shinya Takahashi a lot because I met him in New York for a press thing for Nintendo. So whenever I see him, I'm like, yeah. Good. But he said, and I'm quoting here, "Today we shared just a small portion of what we're currently working on." Basically, what he's saying is, we recognize that you know a lot of this, and we recognize that it's not a whole ton of new announcements, but it's only a small portion of what we're working on. And I took that to heart. I believe that with all of my soul. Anyway, so that was the first 17 minutes of the presentation, of the 40 plus minute presentation, and the entire rest of it was Smash Brothers. So we got lots and lots and lots of details about the new Smash Brothers. It's called Smash Brothers Ultimate. Ultimate. That was the worst echo of all time. I'm sorry that I did that. And a huge portion of the Treehouse time was spent on Smash Brothers Ultimate, and there was the invitational competition, so we saw a lot of Smash Brothers during the E3 week. A ton of it. There's no question that that was Nintendo's focus. The biggest takeaway for Smash Bros. Ultimate is that everyone is here. Every Smash character that's ever graced us with their presence in any Smash game, whether it was DLC or an original character or a character that was in an earlier game and never came back, they're all in Smash Bros. Ultimate, and they're all there with the game when it ships. We also do have the Inkling character added, which looks really cool with all the different colors and stuff. We knew about that from the earlier Direct in the year. And we found out about this new thing called Echo Fighters, like Pit and Dark Pit, or Lucina and Marth. And the newest Echo Fighter is also a new character. It's Daisy. But the one new character that was announced was one that's been super highly anticipated for a very long time, and I'm probably disappointing so many people by saying that I didn't really want this to happen, but it's Ridley. I don't want to talk about it. Smash Bros. Ultimate also got a release date, and it's December 7th. It's actually way later than I thought it was going to be, and it's also on the same day that I planned a vacation, and I'm probably going to be on an airplane, and it's not how I wanted that to happen at all. I hope that I can find a way to get the game before I get on the airplane, and then it will be wonderful, but if I don't, then it's going to be terrible. I'm walking a very fine line right now. Also, very exciting for me, Zelda got a redesign with this costume that's somewhere between her Link to the Past design and her Link Between Worlds design, and I love her so much. She's so beautiful, so precious. And I'm personally vouching very, very hard for a Hilda Echo character. I think it's possible. Anything's possible. Might there be more Smash announcements between now and December 7th? Yeah, absolutely. There will probably be new challengers. I'll be shocked if there's no new challengers between now and December. I guess it's always possible that they want to save it for DLC. I hope that's not the case. We'll see. And that's actually pretty much it for the announcements at Nintendo's Direct. I do also want to give a shout out to Limited Run Games, who did a separate little live announcement thing. Limited Run Games is a company that takes basically indie games and gives them physical releases. So if there's an indie game that you've downloaded and you love it so much that you want to buy it again to put on your shelf, Limited Run Games gives you that opportunity. And they have announced 8 new games that they're putting onto the Switch in physical form. I'll put them all up on the screen here, but the standouts for me are Golf Story, which is a fantastic game, Yooka-Laylee, which I've been very hesitant on due to reviews, but having it in physical form is enough to motivate me to get it, and Dust, which is a bit of an older game. I've played it on PC, I think, but it's a really fantastic game, so I'm looking forward to having that on the Switch. I'm pretty sure I never finished it, so this is one of those opportunities to actually do so. And that about wraps it up for announcements overall for Nintendo at E3. Like I mentioned, is not a huge year for new announcements for Nintendo. It just wasn't. Personally, I had gotten my champagne ready. It's still sitting here because I really, really wanted Animal Crossing to be announced. And it wasn't. But I'm also not surprised that Animal Crossing for Switch wasn't announced. I had said that beforehand. Basically, I wouldn't be surprised if it was. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. That being said, for someone like me who isn't the hugest Smash Brothers fan, it wasn't the most amazing E3 ever. I know I'm not the best fangirl around, but Smash Brothers is a little bit mid-tier for me in terms of my favorite franchises from Nintendo. The only surprises we really got were Mario Party and some other games that we weren't expecting, but didn't really care about. We didn't see Metroid Prime 4. We didn't see Yoshi on the Switch. There was a lot that we didn't get. But we're going to have at least one, if not two, more Nintendo Directs throughout the end of the year. I'm sure that we're going to get new stuff announced there, as well as more details on the things that we didn't get a lot of information on, like Damon Ex Machina and Fire Emblem Three Houses. So I guess my opinion is that I personally felt the Direct was a little bit lackluster. There wasn't anything to make me jump out of my chair out of excitement, but it also is representative of the really robust end of year that they're going into, and there's still a ton of games coming. I've personally got my sights set now on Tokyo Game Show, which is happening in September. Give me all the good announcements then, or else I will be very unhappy. I'm looking up the dates right now. It's September 19th. So let me know down below what you thought of Nintendo's E3 this year. Was it super exciting? Was it super dull? Was Smash enough to suffice for all of your hype? I'm looking forward to reading everything you all have to say about E3 this year. Love you. I find it highly unlikely that anyone will want to watch this, but I did live stream my entire reaction to the Nintendo E3 Direct. I think there was like a little bit of excitement and a little bit of disappointment at certain times throughout the stream, but if you have any desire to watch all 45 minutes or so of that live stream, I'll go ahead and put an unlisted video on YouTube. I'll put the link here at the end of this video, and feel free to watch it.